Hello and welcome to ETV Bharat. You know, on April 22, there was a heinous attack in Pahalgam in South Kashmir. 26 selective civilians were killed in carnage, and after that, 16 days, there was a lot of developments were happening, and we are not knowing what is going to happen. 2 days back, ultimately, what happened, which was, largely being perceived that India is going to strike Pakistan. It was strikes were made in different parts of Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Just to have the context of what happened actually and why it happened at this point in time, I have with me Major Bharat Reddy, who is an expert in defense studies. He has served in Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in the militancy infested South Kashmir for a better part of his service. Welcome to ETV Bharat.
Thank you so much.
To set the tone for our discussion, what has happened for the last 2 nights?
Let us just break that down and see what has been exactly happening, right? So, day 4 yesterday night, if you've seen, we saw news pouring in that Pakistan has attacked 15 of our cities, border towns, all along the western border, going up to the northern border, which starts from Bhuj down south into the Gujarat, Rajasthan region and going up to Uri, which is along the LOC, right? So, what has been happening is that after our attack into Pakistan, deep into Pakistan and across the international border, not just the LOC, Pakistan has been trying to get back to us because Pakistan has a mandate to show itself that it can attack India and cause casualties and damage to India, right? This is the crux of what has been happening right now, over the last 3 days only. Now, Pakistan has a very good air force, okay? It's almost like equivalent to that of India, if not more superior. And Pakistan needs to penetrate through our air defenses to actually strike and cause damage. But we have a very, very powerful, very effective air defense system which is multi-tiered and which is very effective as well. In fact, we have something called as Zeus, which are anti-aircraft guns, ZU.
So it was put to practice yesterday and the day before, and it proved to be very effective.
Absolutely. So what we have is anti-aircraft guns, okay? L-70 is again an anti-aircraft gun. Then you have air defense missile systems. There's something called as Barak. These are all the names that I'm telling you which are not coming into public space today. We are only talking about S-400, right? Then we have something called as the Akash system, which is indigenously developed in India. Barak is a Israeli system, co-developed with Israel and India. Then we have the S-400 missiles, and then we have our own aircraft as well. All of them, when they get integrated seamlessly with a central command and control system, with the radar system, with the guidance system, with the early warning system, all that becomes part of our air defense system. And it's very robust. In fact, the S-400 missile defense that we have today is impenetrable. It's as good as, people have seen Iron Dome in Israel, when it was fighting against Iran or Syria and the missile attacks were happening. S-400 is a proxy Iron Dome as far as India is concerned. So what Pakistan has been doing in the last 2 days has been that since they don't know, they know what we have, they know the technical capability specifications on paper, but on ground, how are these assets deployed and how effective they are, or what is the reaction time that with which we respond to an aerial attack from Pakistan is something that Pakistan does not know.
Do you mean Pakistan is clueless on that?
So what Pakistan is doing is something called as probing attack.
Right.
So they are probing us. For example, I mean, just for our friends to understand, when you make a software, when you build a software, you do something called as a penetration testing to see how secure the software is.
Right.
In the same way, Pakistan right now is doing probing attacks. Probing attacks by definition mean that they are trying to find gaps or weaknesses in our air defense system.
Right.
And so far, they have not been able to find any such gap or weakness, because the moment they find a gap.
So do you suggest by saying this that yesterday it was Pakistan's attempt to probe it and it was defeated, and from that are we going to prolong it? Is it Pakistan will again try to probe it and then he will get more and more clues? And do you suggest that it is going to be the escalation ladder will reach at some point in time?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So now having said this, let me give you a context as to why this is happening, right? So if you take this joker whose name is Asim Munir, the Madarsa chap, guy who is wearing a uniform and sitting as chief of air staff or chief of army staff of Pakistan today. When he started this path, right? Look at what he did on 16th April. On 16th April, he called the Pakistan diaspora. He was addressing the diaspora of Pakistan, and he was actually positioning Pakistan as the most holiest country which was born after Makkah from the Quran, from the Holy Quran. And then he went on to mention that Kashmir is the jugular as far as Pakistan is concerned, and therefore he would any day would like to capture Kashmir, is the second statement that he made.
Yes.
Then the third statement that he made is that Pakistan should be remembered not just by our generation but for future generations as well. Yeah. So if you see this, the mistake was in making a public statement like this.
Yes.
And having made a public statement, he went on ahead to carry out a terror strike in the heartland of Kashmir and killed innocent civilians. This is the second part.
Right.
Now, how would Asim Munir be thinking when he is doing this? Because he will know that India is going to react and respond to this situation.
Right.
But in his wargaming, probably what he would have considered is that we would end up again doing something like a Balakot strike or a Uri surgical strike or something like that, and then leave it at that. He was betting on that. He was betting on the fact that Pakistan is a nuclear state and that India will not have the courage to attack Pakistan in a larger sense, to have a higher impact because of the fear and the deterrence that a nuclear weapon brings on the table in such situations.
Right.
However, when India responded by hitting 9 of their towns and with such precision down to an inch and bringing down their headquarters, be it of Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba or Hizbul Mujahideen, and to targets which are 150 kilometers inside. Bahawalpur is 140 kilometers inside the international border.
Yes.
And it's not easy to secure such a target, and Pakistan failed miserably to detect the launch or stop the attack by the missiles and the other munitions which were launched by India. Ab ye context hai. This is the context that we have for what is happening next. What Pakistan was doing, what Asim Munir was doing to is actually get control on a failing state, a failing economy, a failing political situation where Baluchis are fighting it out and Sindhis are fighting it out, and ISIS is coming and knocking on their northern borders, and Asim Munir had to find a solution and show something else and divert the attention of the people of Pakistan citizens and throw it onto India. यह इनका प्लान था.
Now I'll take it to the the geopolitical level. At point when there is Ukraine and Russia, they are at loggerheads for last almost 2 years, and Hamas and Israel, they are fighting. So in that context, how intelligent it was, or lack of it, on part of Pakistan to engage into this, and where this is going to, because we are seeing that the international, we are calling all the NSAs and foreign ministers, but I saw the Vice President once, he is saying they will do it independently. And we are expecting that on Pakistan side, Turkey and China, they will be directly into it, but
Yes.
we don't see China is there, although there are some traces of Turkey being there.
Yeah.
So how do you see it? Was the timing, how they have calculated it?
So I'll take you back to the previous question first, because the question was that whether this will continue for a few more days or not. So having said what I said,
Right.
so there was a lot of chest beating from the Pakistani leadership, from Asim Munir to their Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif to their Foreign Minister to even Bhutto. Everybody was chest beating and saying that this time we will really show India its place, its position, and kind of stuff.
Right.
But then India, like in Hindi they say that ghar mein ghus ke marenge, right? India stated it, India actually did it, and the Pakistani military establishment could do nothing to stop this attack. Now what's the option left with Asim Munir now? Now he has taken a position that he is the macho man of Pakistan. But India has come and slapped on his face inside his house.
Right.
So he has to, he has no go back now. He can't step back from this situation. He has to take the step ahead and show to his community, to his ummah, to his country, to his citizens that he is in control of the situation and that he can walk the talk that he gave on 16th April. He has no choice.
Right.
So he has to do something which gives him content, which gives him narrative, which gives him a story that it's not only India which can come inside Pakistan and strike us, we can also go inside in India to strike them. And for the last 2 nights, that's what has been happening. For the last 2 nights, that's what has been happening.
And it suits his own domestic politics as well, because he was at loggerheads with Imran Khan. Imran Khan is behind the bars, and it is an illegitimate government headed by Shahbaz Sharif, which is all part of history, how they rigged the polls and put a former prime minister in jail, and there was a lot of revolt against the army. And in that backdrop also, this fits in that how Asim Munir orchestrated the things what we have.
So just continuing the thread that I was carrying on, look at the situation where Asim Munir is caught in between the devil and the deep sea. If he does not go ahead and cause some sort of damage on Indian soil, the people of Pakistan will start questioning him, the opposition will start questioning him, and all the divisive forces, the insurgency which is happening today in Pakistan, when you look at Balochistan, which has already taken 2 towns now, which has now declared that it has taken Quetta also, which has now declared independence of Balochis, right?
So this is the most crucial point you have raised, that Asim Munir is now caught in a situation which is like a devil in deep sea, and he has to do something extraordinary.
Exactly.
So that
Yes.
do you mean to say that the worst is yet to come?
Yes, I think Pakistan is still planning to do something big, because Asim Munir is not sending a message to India. Asim Munir has to send a message to Pakistan citizens and his own army. He is under tremendous stress that he lost 28 soldiers on that train in Balochistan. These soldiers are not willing to fight today.
So in that context, whatever reaction has been from the Indian side, what we have done, is it sufficient or some more is to be done? Because there are a lot of people are saying that we have to go inside and ground troops have to be mobilized. Do you think that there is any such possibility?
No. Of what are the options that we have? You see, whatever India has done till date, whatever action that he has taken, take the first action. Let's just look at the first action. It was an action taken deliberately, even when we had the capability to hit any other target. It could be a military target, it could be a nuclear target, it could be a civilian populated target. We did not do that. We chose, and to tell you very frankly, what is the distance between Muridke and Lahore? Nothing, 30 kilometers, right? 30 kilometers. Matlab, had India wanted to really rake up casualties, had India been in the mode of revenge rather than response, we could have struck them anywhere that we wanted, which we did not do. And we sent a very clear message to Pakistan saying that, look, for us, Pakistan is not the enemy. For us, Pakistani citizens are not the enemy. For us, the enemy are the terror factories which are there in Pakistan, which are exporting terror and terrorists into the land of Kashmir, right? And creating loss of life of our citizens.
Yes.
And we want you to address them. So we told Pakistan first, okay, you please address them. And when Pakistan failed to address that part, we said that if you don't take care of things, we will take care of things. That was the message, firstly. So it was a very precise, calibrated action which was designed not to escalate things further. And Pakistan should have kept quiet at that point in time, but they did not do that. And they took the next step forward and they started escalating things. And that's why I said, why are they escalating things? Because they don't have a face saver and they don't have an exit strategy. You know, we say in the army parlance that ramp off. You give him a ramp off. You give him an honorable exit. There is no honorable exit.
Yes.
Asim Munir is not willing to take a step back. Indian government is not willing to let loose. So where will this lead? This will lead to
India and Pakistan, they are now caught into such a situation after 22nd of April. Now we are where we are. So what is, as a country of 1.4 billion people, what are the responsibilities of the people, how they have to behave, and all the verticals of the society, how they have to, as a defense expert who has worked in very tough situations and who is now for some time seeing it from a different angle. How do you see the society at large and particular elements of the verticals of the society, how they have to respond in this situation?
I'll give you a slightly longish answer for this question, because every question needs to have a context set before the statement makes any sense. Right? Now, India, if you look at India, we are a very diversified country. We are a rich country that way, and we have our own schisms, social fault lines. We have different communities, different castes, different regions, different languages. Pakistan, in the last 3 wars since 1947, 65, 71, they lost terribly against India. So they already decided that we cannot stand in front of India and in a conventional war, and we cannot win or gain a victory against India in a conventional war. And that is when they decided that they will go for a proxy war. Now, how does this proxy war start, and how does this insurgency come in? How are they promoting this thing? So the first thing is that Pakistan tries to build walls in between communities. So if you see in between the Hindus and Muslims, now in this country, our country, we don't look at people like Hindus and Muslims. We live together, right? When I was driving down today, my driver was a Muslim. Yeah. But I don't care about whether he's a Muslim or not. I care about whether he's driving or not and driving nicely or not. But Pakistan is not like that. Their thinking is about divisive thinking. Our thinking is not that. But now you look at the other thing where they have been trying to build a schism in between Punjab, Sikh community and the Hindus again. So they are masters in building these walls and masters in information warfare and psychological warfare and using a lot of social media, mainstream media, right, and all these things into building these divisive forces within India. Having this context in the background, now if you look at what happened in Pahalgam in particular, they chose only Hindus, they chose only men, and they targeted. So what were they trying? What were they trying? Now just look at what they were trying. By choosing to kill only Hindus, they were not looking at the Hindus. They were looking at the Hindus of India getting angry at the Muslim community across India.
Yes, which
Right?
was effectively defeated.
Yes. So look at the grand design of the enemy. Don't look at it like a Pakistani Islamic nation has come and killed Hindus in India. That is not the narrative. जो दिखता है वो सच नहीं है, right? So, and if you see the immediate aftermath of the Pahalgam issue, they Pakistani handles started off a narrative of Hindu versus Muslim, you know, all these things, by which our youngsters get swayed so easily, who live only in social media. So Pakistan, when it plays a game, it plays a longish game, and we need to be aware and sensitive to what is the longer play of Pakistan in this and not the immediate situation. Yeah. So when you ask me what is it that our countrymen should be aware of in such situations, it's very simple. Pakistan is trying to divide us. In reality, if I step out my door, walk on the street, I cannot differentiate in between a Hindu, a Muslim and a Sikh, or a Guju or a Brahmin or a Bengali, or a Kannadiga or a Tamilian. There is no differentiation. We're all Indians. We're all Hindustani.
No, that is one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it is the information warfare.
Yes.
And on that count, what are the responsibilities of the different sections of the society?
Very simple. In a larger sense and in an immediate sense. In the larger sense, we should be aware that social media is used for social engineering. That's what we call it, social engineering. Matlab, to divide us, to divide and rule us. And we should be very, very careful as to what this social media is doing, trying to do us. And don't believe anything that comes on these social handles, whether Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or anything. Just don't believe in these things because that's not true, right? That's the first thing.
Right.
Then the information warfare that happens is that the social engineering happens within groups, within WhatsApp groups, within discussions as well. So in the longer sense of the term, stop disbelieving anything, any content that comes on social media. Now, in the immediate context, what are we supposed to do? Unfollow anything that you are following. Wherever you see any messaging which comes, which is showing a Hindu versus Muslim or a Hindu versus Sikh, doesn't matter where it is originating from. It could be coming from Canada, it could be coming from India, it could be coming from any part of the world. But whatever it is which tries to draw a divide in between our own communities, stop following it. Don't share it. Don't share it, right? Don't talk about it. Don't discuss it.
Major Reddy, we will now try to conclude this discussion. So I'll again get you back to the ground situation as we stand today.
Yeah.
So how do you see now it is panning out in next say 10 days, or is it on a mode of de-escalation, or there is every fear that if some mischief is done from either side, today in the briefing there was that some flights from Saudi Arabia, they were operating, they were in air when the drones were fired from Pakistan. So if there was a missile attack and a civilian aircraft was shot down, and it could have been a huge disaster. So anything can happen. So it is such a situation. How do you see it? Why do you see it going?
While I would not like to speculate on what happens, because a war is a very complex mechanism, and a war is something which is very dynamic, which changes minute on minute and hour and day on day. So what is true today would be wiped off, and tomorrow it's a set of a whole lot of new factors
New realities.
coming up in reality, right?
Yeah.
But if you take some pointers which are there, which either told you, I referred you to Asim Munir, who is unable to get an honorable exit, because of which he has to continue his stance. India is unwilling to give away an opportunity which is in its hands. Today we have Pakistan by the throat, right? And India would like to see Pakistan to be dragged by the throat and thrown into the sea, because we want to extract our pound of flesh, which means we want peace in Kashmir. We don't want an inch of land in Pakistan. That's not our objective. Our objective is, boss, don't come into our land and try to kill our innocent people. Okay? Don't disturb the peace in our society. But that means that there are a lot of changes that Pakistan would have to do from a financial angle, from a leadership angle, from a support angle, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now look at the third part. Washington has made a statement saying that we would not get involved, as this is a personal matter in between two countries, which means perhaps Washington has washed its hands off the entire situation, which is a very indirect method of saying, bhai jo karna hai kar lo aapas mein.
Yes.
And it knows that India is a more powerful country in this situation. Yeah. So that means India is perhaps given a free hand to do whatever it likes. Now coming back to a question which was left unanswered, Turkey and China. China is the elephant in the room. Without China's support, I don't think Pakistan would have dared to conduct such an attack in the heartland of India. Let us be very clear about it.
That's a fact.
But now why is China not coming out in the open? How much trade is there in between China and India today? If China comes out in the open, and if India takes a anti-China stand, like it did with Pakistan, that would be a terrible loss for China. And China always plays a proxy game in any place that it plays, whether you take the Belt Road Initiative or the CPEC Initiative or the initiatives in Africa or Sri Lanka or Bangladesh for that matter. China always plays its game in a very safe manner where they never come out into the open. That's China. That's how China plays its foreign policy.
Right.
Now look at Turkey. Turkey was an amazing country when, as long as Ataturk was there, when he actually opened up Turkey to European culture and civilization, right? But if you see the recent politics of Turkey,
Rise of Erdogan.
Before Erdogan, it was always coalition politics. There was never a centralized command control structure which came. Erdogan was the first head of this country who has got full majority. And how did he get full majority? By using Islam as his fundamental base.
Yes.
And today Erdogan perhaps dreams of being a Islamic country which gives panah to Syria, right? To Jordan and all the migrants who are there in those regions. So Erdogan has his own thought process where he likes to establish himself as the savior of the Muslims globally.
Crusader.
Right? As a crusader, absolutely. Pakistan also shares the same dream.
Yes.
And so two maniacs are getting together and they don't mind because they want to establish themselves as the crusaders for the Muslim community across the world. That's the message that they want to send. So it's a larger goal for Erdogan. And of course, if he gives drones to Pakistan, Turkey stands to make money. Where's the problem in that? Paise bhi to bana rahe.
Right.
So I think finally that's what is happening. And to conclude from my side, what I'm saying is that this is a developing situation right now. There's more to come. They're all things are pointing that escalation is going to only happen further, right? So it's a developing situation. Let's wait and watch. The ball is in the court of Pakistan, and it's for Pakistan to decide whether they want to take this to the next level or they want to withdraw
So
and continue.
as we decide, as we discuss the things, it is a very vast subject, and we don't know what is going to happen in next phase of this. But maybe good sense prevails, and Pakistan understands what is on its platter and how far they can go. And if that happens, it will be better for the entire subcontinent.
Absolutely, yes.
Major Bharat Reddy, thank you for coming to ETV Bharat studios. We'll continue these discussions to get more understanding on the global and the regional geostrategic issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.